The Kid Man! Alright, lads, what's the crack? It's myself, also Kevin, and
And myself, Kevin, also.
we are the Kit Men. We're going to talk to you a little bit about Liverpool's season so far. A couple of players in the team that are really starting to shine and stand out. The options available to the team in recent weeks. And an overall look at, results versus where we stand going up against City and causes and effects of that, and and hopefulness for going forward in the league and also going forward into next season's competition. So I think we'll start off with what do you think, Kev? We start off with a little bit of and Inter Milan. There's a little thing of Inter Milan tomorrow night, I should say.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a little thing of Inter Milan. So do you want to start off with a little bit of like how well the players are doing this season?
Yeah, look, I suppose just we can break down into categories there in a little bit. But I suppose the first thing to say, what we would have touched on before, and I'll say it again, I suppose, just after not an awful run over the Christmas period, but by our own standards, when you're going up against a fantastic team and squad, I suppose, like Manchester City,
Mm.
who accumulate a fantastic amount of points throughout any season since Pep has been there, I suppose we couldn't afford the 2 draws and the loss. So I was in the depths of depression after that.
Yeah.
Not think we did anything wrong. We were just up against City, and that just made it tougher to make even little mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
So again, we said at the time that if we can somehow find our way back into the title race, if we can somehow find a way of putting the pressure back on City, and again, football being football, it's a game of emotions. The one draw the City had, we were able to take advantage of that. We obviously have a game in hand as well. We're 9 points behind at the moment, but luckily enough for Liverpool, we can get that down to 6 points, and we have to play them as well. So I suppose to kind of summarize that point is we're still in it. We're still there. Fair play to us. And that's only a good thing, you know. In terms of the different categories, the players, how they're getting on or whatever, we'll go through that as well, as I said. But I suppose the main thing I'm trying to point out is that I'm very hopeful. We spoke again on the watch along the other day about me saying that this is like the sunny side of the season. You're over Christmas, things start getting a bit easier. You're on the downhill part. Luckily enough for us, there's a lot of players back from injury. We could see that when Thiago came on the pitch the other day. Naby played. He had a great game. We have Sadio. We have Salah back from the African Nations Cup.
Yeah.
So I think everything in terms of hope, optimism, players on the pitch, Harvey Elliott coming back, Luis Diaz being signed. I think everything at the moment is pointing in the right direction for us.
Yeah.
And I kind of find myself not being able to complain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. Another positive thing I noticed from the other day is can we just talk about how good Thiago and Fabinho together are in that midfield?
Yes.
Like when he
Yes.
came
Exactly.
on and there was just a completely different flow in the midfield. It was completely controlled. Anything they touched was laid off in the right directions. It was controlled well, and Burnley didn't even get a sniff after that. So like it just goes to show you like the quality of Thiago when he can come on in those positions and play in that kind of role, you know. But yeah, as you were saying, catching City is a feat in itself. We've only kind of got ourselves to blame, but when I look at it on both sides, City have more losses than us, or probably on similar pair of losses as us. No, I haven't really looked at it, and I should really check that out now as I'm looking at it. But here we go. Right, so we have so they have 2 losses. We have the same losses.
Yeah.
The
2
only
losses.
problems is the difference in draws. We have 3 more draws.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're looking at it at the point when it comes to the end of April. In that way, is that we're hoping that City will have that extra loss from us, and that they will catch a draw somewhere around there. And if they do catch that, then or maybe one more loss, a couple of draws there. If some of the teams can slow them down, the next couple of games,
They have
we've got
Everton,
Spurs.
Tottenham, and
Yeah,
United.
they have
Like
Spurs
over the
this
next
weekend.
6 games,
Yeah,
that's this weekend.
that's this
And do you
weekend.
know what? Like Tottenham are not on a good run, so
Yeah.
they're like, I think Conte is going to be kicking ass there. Like there has to be a reaction,
Yeah.
I would fancy Tottenham to get at least a draw out of them.
Yeah.
It can't keep going wrong for
Yeah.
Tottenham. It cannot keep going wrong for Tottenham. They have good, like, we like to slag them off and everything,
Yeah.
but they genuinely do have good players, and they
Yeah.
genuinely have a good manager as well. So hopefully they can at least nick something from them, you know?
And they're in 8th place, right? But they're what is it now? They're 5 points off where West Ham are now, right?
Mm.
But they've got 3 games in hand on West
It's
Ham.
the 3 games, is
It's
it?
3 games on West Ham in that position. Now at the moment, like it's looking like Arsenal are in the driving seat for that because
Arsenal,
now they're
yeah.
on the same number of games with more points than Spurs
Mm.
over that. So the difference there is that there's only a point between Arsenal and United.
The
So
the top 4 thing at the moment for a neutral is probably more interesting than the
mm,
title race or even the
yeah.
relegation battle. There's nobody seems to want to grasp that 4th place, like, you know?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
do I feel sorry for all of this Chelsea.
yeah, they're kind of forgotten about,
They're
haven't
forgotten
they?
about. They're just
They're
there
kind of
third. They
forgotten about.
have third. That's it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
again, that's something that we would have agreed on at the start of the season.
yeah,
We did say it was going to be City, Liverpool. We thought Chelsea would start well and then
yeah.
kind of wind down a little
We
bit,
said that.
and
Yeah, they were going to
it's
drop off.
playing out that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
We
in
were
saying
exactly
that,
right.
I was looking at their fixtures as well this morning. They have a kind of an easy enough run in the next the next 6 games as well. You know, so
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be title contenders,
yeah.
but they definitely cement that
I'm
3rd
looking
place.
at the next
Anyway.
three for City, and they have Spurs, Everton, and United, and that's either side of playing Champions League and stuff like that
Mm,
in the mix of that, right? And there's FA Cup games thrown in there as well.
yeah,
Who
and
do they get in the FA
I
Cup?
think.
I don't think they got anybody in the FA. Who do they get in the FA Cup? Peterborough, or
Oh,
something like that.
I think
Yeah,
there was only 2 Premiership clashes. We got
yeah,
Norwich, wasn't it? So
yeah.
I think the
And
thing as well
West
with
Ham is surrounded.
City,
Yeah,
it's important there. You kind of referenced it in terms of the Champions
yeah,
League. I think if Pep had his choice, he would go for the Champions League versus the
yeah,
Premier League. So I think he'll put an awful lot of thought into those games as he
mm,
does. And
yeah.
then when you think about it, okay, United aren't in the best form, neither are Tottenham or Everton, but the combination of those 3 games coming close together with Champions League, there's a very good chance of some points of them dropping some points somewhere within there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, look at us. Our next 3 games now are Norwich City, Leeds United. Let's rule out the cup final on the 27th,
Mm,
which is the third game, and also straight away after that is Norwich City in the FA Cup, instead of the
yeah.
League Cup game. But one after that is West Ham, which is probably our toughest out of the next 3
Yeah,
fixtures.
yeah, yeah. But you
But
know what?
that's not
In
doing
the
50
cold light
miles.
of day,
Yeah.
they're all winnable on paper. You know, they're all
Well,
very winnable. You know,
all of them are at home.
or they're all at home. Today.
Every
That's
single one of them
interesting.
in a row is at home. So
I think as well, Kev. I think in terms of like Jurgen Klopp's team, this
yeah,
Liverpool team, I think they're better when they're busier.
yeah,
Do you know when
yeah, yeah,
that there's a good few games coming, and obviously like withstanding injuries, once they have a full
yeah.
squad there, bit of rotation, they have that fluidity in play as well. I think that will suit us a bit better as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, if you think of it this way, right, we've got the away game now against Inter tomorrow night, right? After that, we hit straight into Norwich at home, straight into
Mm,
Leeds at home. Then it's the cup final, obviously, so we're going to rule that out. Then it's a home again to Norwich in the FA Cup.
yeah.
Then it's a home to West Ham again in that, and then straight after that, it's a home to Inter. There's literally
Mm,
5 games in a row at home. I
yeah.
don't think I've ever seen it for Liverpool.
It's good, but
Um,
it's about time something started going our way, 'cause I feel like
yeah,
even though we've done well, I think there's been a lot of bad luck come our way
yeah,
throughout the
yeah,
duration of the
yeah.
season in terms of decisions and injuries and things like that,
I
so
think the 2 games
hopefully
that we
this
lost, we were the better
turns.
side. We were the better side
Yeah,
against West Ham. We were the
yeah,
better side against Leicester, and we couldn't put away. It was at that
yeah.
point that we were just struggling for goals and
Mm,
clean sheets. But look, they steadied the ship pretty much straight after. We were unlucky to drop points against Chelsea. We were unlucky to drop points
yeah.
against Brighton. It was our own fault. We let them
Mm,
back into the game, and it shouldn't have ended in a draw. But when I seen the draw against Chelsea, I was kind of saying, okay, so the City's league now to lose. Then I seen them getting a draw, and I seen us picking up points after points after points.
mm,
And as you said earlier, it came down to the point where it came down to the point now where it's a difference of it's 9 points as it sits right now,
mhm.
and we have a game in hand against that. That's the Leeds game at home.
Yeah.
Bring that back to 6 points, as you say. Beat City, that's 3 points. So we're not counting us beating them. Hopefully they could draw another couple of games or even
Mm,
lose a game. What if they lose the derby? What if Spurs pull out a world in which they can do and
yeah.
catch City for a game during the week? Everything might even come as a surprise with Frank Lampard and do something.
Mhm.
But then they could win all 3 of those and then go the following week to Burnley and well, no, not Burnley because as I said, they always trounce them. But like they could surprise them with the way Burnley played against us. They should have what it
Yeah.
takes to stop a City side. from doing what they're doing because
Yeah.
they defended really well the other day, Burnley, and they were counter-attacking
Do
well.
you know?
So
Do you know what shocked me about Burnley the other day?
yeah,
Like you have that Sean Dyche thing, they're tough lads and they're
mm,
compact, etc., etc. So when like sometimes you just look at the phone, you look at the table,
yeah,
that they've only 14 points.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know? Like what the hell? Like
yeah. Oh, well, it's
um,
saying that they've
I know they've games in hand, like, but
well, they
like
don't have much now when you think of it. They've only got one over Everton in 16th, and they've
the
got
way,
two over Newcastle. But
but
Burnley are in trouble now because
yeah, the
there's
bottom
7
three at the
points of a
moment
difference.
is it Burnley, Watford, and Norwich.
Yeah,
And then maybe Newcastle and Everton are above those.
yeah,
I think that's the bottom three. I think that's it. Newcastle, the way they played the other day,
yeah,
with the bit of money they're after
yeah,
spending, I can't see them going down now. Like if you told me that a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of going, Jesus, maybe even with all the new riches that they
yeah,
might still go down.
yeah.
There's part of me hopes everything go down just because of what they've done to Rafa.
Yeah, but now you see Newcastle have a
But
game in hand over Norwich. They're the same level as Watford, but the difference is there's a 7 point because Newcastle have won their last 3 games in a row.
yeah,
Three
yeah,
games in a row they've won.
they're starting to find a bit of form,
Yeah,
aren't
they
they?
are,
And they played really well the other day,
they
and it was
drew the
against
2
Villa
games,
too.
so they haven't lost in 5.
Yeah,
You
there
know,
you go. I
so
know.
like they're on the up. They've caught up with Everton pretty much a point behind them, but
Mm,
Everton have a game in hand, obviously. But yeah, the difference is now even up to 17th is that Burnley do have 2 games in hand on Newcastle, but in saying that, um, a 7 point gap
yeah, yeah,
makes
yeah,
no
yeah,
difference.
yeah. And Newcastle are starting to show a form, as
Yeah,
we said. Come here. Well, I don't know if anybody will be watching this, or whatever,
yeah.
but it looked like the ghost of Bill Shankly came in the door there, and it closed again. Did you see that behind you? Did the
That
dog
was
come in there
Flash.
or something?
That was Flash. He's doing underneath me, and sure he's after farting. I'm just like, well, what's that smell? Look, come here. Now you say hello to everybody. Come up here, Flash. He's not so small anymore, Kev.
Jeez,
You
the
don't know.
size of him.
He's not so small
He
anymore.
still looks the same though.
He still
All
looks
right,
the same.
Flash.
Hello, Flash. How are you? Mwah. Come on, get you out here. Right. Get out there and play the ball. Look, a ball.
A
There you
ball,
go.
a ball.
Yeah,
You were chatting away and your door just opened. I was like, what the hell?
that's weird,
I,
yeah.
I,
No,
was-
there's
I
nobody
was
here.
guess.
Cooper's in school, like, and
All right.
Danny's upstairs with the baby.
I was
So,
guessing it was the dog. All
it'll
right.
be
I was
Flash.
guessing it was the
Flash always
dog.
pops in to say hello, like,
Very
So,
good, very good. And I'll just, just in terms of Liverpool as well, I know now we're kind of concentrating on City there a bit and going, I hope they get beat here or draw here. I think as well, it's important for us to remember that, like, yes, we've worked ourselves back into a very good position,
yep,
but like we pretty much have to be pitch perfect from this point on as well,
absolutely.
There can be no more excuses. There can be no more
Yep,
mistakes. And
yep,
particularly when the squad is looking fit and the addition of Luis Diaz as well to add a bit more momentum to the team and,
yeah,
get people worried about their position a bit more as well, I think himself and Jota particularly, like the form he's shown this season, but then adding Luis Diaz, throwing him on top of it, as I
he'll only
said
get better.
before, but you can see it in him already, can't you?
Yeah,
You can see he's someone that's going to be suited to English football. And again, in just the small little time he's been on the pitch, you can just tell there's a touch of class about the lad, like.
Yeah, and I mean they're saying that Carvalho now is going to be added to that for the front line as a backup to Jota and Firmino. Is that well? Okay, so that you could tell now that Divock Origi's definitely gone. There's no more talks like he's leaving, so that's done. There was talk of James Milner leaving, but now they're renewing his contract.
Yeah, I
So
seen that.
that's a good thing.
that.
I like
Yeah.
Millie staying around. If he's quite happy to be fourth,
Prepared.
fifth choice in the middle of that thing and just be in that dressing room alone, I
Mm.
don't think Klopp wants to lose that. And he's like, Millie, look, you can stay here. You can do what you need to do. You will see some games, but you're not going to see as much as last season, or you can leave. He might say, look, I'd like to finish up my career probably at Liverpool, or do it for the next couple of seasons here again.
Yeah.
Where I need to help out, or just be a coach type player, and well, the new midfielders are coming in like a Martin. They could learn so much from him, like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and then maybe, as we said before, finish off his career at Leeds or go into the coaching role at Liverpool, because I would have him there in a heartbeat. He's so good around the club. He's to me, as good as Joel Matip has been, as good as Gary Maka was back in the day, and the whole that Millie to me is the best.
He's the best free
transfer.
signing, isn't he?
Best free
Yeah,
transfer
yeah.
we've ever had in our history. Right,
I used to always think Gary Mack, obviously,
Yeah.
because of what he done in the short space of time he was there. But Millie has obviously surpassed that with Champions Leagues and Premier League titles and all the rest of it. And I'd agree with your point in terms of I would like him to remain at the club. Again, he might be I suppose, look, he is a Leeds United supporter. So let's say he wanted more game time and he went back there next season if they'd have him. you wouldn't blame him. But
Yeah.
if you look at it from a different point of view, he could say to himself, okay, I'm 30, is he 35, 36,
Yeah.
37, whatever he is, he's kicking on a bit. And he could go, I could play, he'd still get a good amount of game time over an entire season.
Yeah.
But they'd do it to suit his body and the team as well, I suppose. Like he could still pick up another Premier League title. He could still pick up
Yeah.
another Champions League
Yeah.
or be part of a team or a squad that is, doing things like that.
Yeah.
And I suppose at the late stage in his career where he is, that's a fantastic opportunity for him.
Like
You know?
he has to look a gift horse in the mouth as well. You know, he is, was he 36 now?
Yeah, he's up around that bracket.
36 years of age.
He's younger than us, though.
He's younger than us, which seems we talk about him like he's old, and he's
I
younger
know.
than us. You know what I mean?
I still do that about footballers. Like, be 10 years younger than me, I talk about them like they're old fellas. Like,
he's too old now. He's 34 now. You know, so, we're sitting in our 80s, but like, but I mean that's the whole thing about football. It's it is a fantasy in its own genre. You know, it doesn't matter what the age of the players are; they're just an entity. Instead of looking at the age of, you do when you put on your football head, you do look at the age, you do look at experience,
of course.
But when you're looking at it as a whole, as a spectacle, they're just entities. You know, and
I suppose that the thing as well to kind of remember is that, like, in terms of James Milner, like, we let Gini Wijnaldum go, and he's years younger than Millie. Like, so it's when I seen the article, probably like yourself, went onto the phone or whatever, and I seen Klopp talking about Millie possibly staying, that he still wants to play football. I was kind of shocked, to be honest. So I suppose it must highlight the way that Jurgen Klopp regards James Milner's influence on the team and on the squad and around the training ground and all the rest of it, But as I said, look, I would be I wish Genie never left either, but I would be very happy to have Millie hanging around a little bit longer.
Like I do. Like when I see him coming on, sometimes, like when I see Millie at his best, I love him. But he's obviously not got the legs that he used to, even though he's probably the best trainer in the club. But being the best trainer and running and stuff like that is not the same as having the youthfulness on a turn or a stop or a track down. You know, it's just spring off the step. You know, and you lose that with age, obviously, but you don't but he's still got an engine to run the entire match.
He does.
You know, so that's the difference. You know, Hendo's starting to feel that now small, but I've noticed that in him a little bit. So, you know, but Hendo has had injury struggles compared to Millie, who's always kind of stayed.
Miller's
fresh.
Like he was 16 or something when he made his debut, wasn't he, for Leeds?
2002 for Leeds. Yeah, he was like 16 years of age. You know?
That's crazy.
2002 for Leeds, and you know, he's gone through clubs. He's been at Aston Villa, he's been at Newcastle, you know, and he's been at Manchester City, and he's seen a lot of things like after Leeds. So, and you know, could have come full circle for him. It would be a fairy tale for him, but I would like to see him stay with us until that point where he can't do fuck all for us anymore. And but right now he's still an important member of that squad. Just for his experience alone,
100%.
Just for his guidance alone, for his banter alone, and not so boring on social
media. Or
James
Milner.
He's not so boring. I like he's one of the best of them out there. But like that's it. But getting back to the relegation things you were talking there a while ago, Burnley haven't won in the last 5. So that was where, when I was looking at them, and they had like 4 games in hand and everybody else, they've lost 2 of those and drawn the other 3.
They're full of draws this season.
So Watford have lost 3 of the last 5, the other 2 have been draws. And Norwich City have won 2 of the last 5, hence why they're in the 18th. But they have the most games played, so they're like literally 1 behind where the highest played, which is like City, West Ham, Brentford, and that's the only teams that have played the full calendar of games.
Unless there's some sort of a miracle, I think that's the bottom 3 for the rest of the season.
It looks likely for the bottom 3, man. You know what? I'm not too bothered about Newcastle. I like Newcastle as a club and all of that, but I want them to earn their success like the rest of us. I wouldn't mind if they went down. I think it would do English football the world good. They'll come back, obviously, you know. But so, and then you're going to have like 5-6 years time, you're going to have that kind of top 4 sitting there, where it's going to be your Man City, your Liverpool, your Chelsea, your Newcastle. And then you'll have your United, Arsenal, and Spurs hovering around that area. Unless United do something drastically, I'm sorry, but they're only a top 8.
They're fading away, aren't they? They're fading away.
They're gone as bad as what we were in the late 90s.
The only thing I would say in terms of United is that they still have that financial muscle They can spend money. So if they did get a good manager, someone that could think like in terms of bigger picture, they might crawl it back. But like the way they've been run since the Glazers have taken over, and particularly since Ferguson
left.
has
He
left,
saw it. Like he got out. He could have stayed there another few years and
he
added to his contract.
I'm,
He
I'm
saw
gonna
the
say,
ship
I'm gonna say
sinking.
Bevan, he fucking caused the
Yeah,
whole thing. Like he caused the whole thing. As
yeah.
much as he saved United in the 80s, he pretty much
He's like,
definitely
I'm going
started
out of
their
here. I want
demise.
my legacy to be the legacy. So
Yeah,
United are
yeah,
not
yeah,
going to
yeah.
do anything for the next 5 or 6 years. I don't think he did it on purpose, but he did it in such a way where he was making
It's
sure that he was covered.
it all comes down to the Rock of Gibraltar. That's the
Yeah,
thing that ruined Manchester United.
yeah.
Getting in fights with John Magner and JP
Yeah.
McManus. He should have
That
known,
is it.
silly boy, silly
I know.
boy.
Horses, boy. Horses.
Horses,
Yeah.
yeah. And Roy Keane said it. Roy Keane said it as well. He said when he got into the argument with the lads,
Yeah.
he put the club in jeopardy.
Yeah.
But I suppose he's Scottish and he loves the money.
He does. That's it, like, you know. So, like, he's, you know, that's where they're going. I don't know too much to say about that. They're in fifth, and, you know, what I find, the one thing that they're able to do is hover around. Like, yes, last year they got second, right? But that
Yeah.
was in an awful season.
That was
the
a
worst
weird
season.
season.
It was a weird season. So I don't know if any United fans are watching this, but if you are, do not tell me that you were class last season, because you weren't. You were just as average as you were this season, but everybody else was shiter.
Yeah.
So pretty much.
Well, they had a massive squad, Kev. I think that's the thing. They
Huge.
have a massive squad, and that helped them through Corona and everything else, where other clubs around them did struggle with that.
I ask you this question. I'm going to put it to anybody else out here now that's watching as well. If United had the same injury worries as us, Spurs, well, we'll go. We'll say we'll compare us, because we're Liverpool fans, right? So we'll compare us. If they had the same issues as us, if they had two of their best midfielders that allowed two of their wingers the freedom that they did, have to go back and play in defence for a 2-month period, then both get injured, lose the two of them, have to put two kids in there,
Young fellas,
for 5 months of the rest of the season, right? And then try and stopgap fill the middle of the park. You know, we panic bought or loaned in, bought two players. Ben Davies, was it Ben Davies? What's his name?
Yes, the lad that's gone to Sheffield United. It
is
is Ben Davis, isn't it, or something like that?
He hasn't kicked the football for us.
No.
And Kabak came in, who looked kind of promising, but it was a bit much for him. So you know, they came in and, you know, tried to help out. Reece Williams was there, and obviously, you know,
Nat Phillips,
who was outstanding for us in
the
second half of the season, but still not up to the pair of a Matip or Van Dijk, or even a Gomez at that matter. You know, it's just the legs, you know. But if we'd have lost to those, right? If they'd have lost those type of players last season,
would they have got top four?
They would have been in relegation battle.
No, they wouldn't. Well, they definitely wouldn't have got top four in it. That's
absolutely
for sure.
No.
Yeah.
They would have been in a relegation battle, and the fact that we got third with that situation is testament to what Klopp has done at the club.
Yeah.
That he's got everybody that comes in knowing their position and their roles when they do come in to fill in. Yeah, we had bad results. Yeah, we did like 6 games. We lost like 6 games at home in a row, but we still got third in the league.
I think, like, as long as I'm alive now, 40 years in this earth, and been interested in football as long as I can remember, since I was a young lad, I have never, obviously, the thing that happened in the world, the coronavirus thing, that hadn't happened in 100 years either, or anything like it, I should say, since the Spanish flu. I've never seen a set of circumstances like that. I would never have been able to make that up if I tried. The fact that happened, the fact that all these injuries, the Van Dijk thing happened, centre halves fell away, midfielders fell away.
Thiago injury.
It won't happen again for another 100 years, like, you know. So I think what happened to us was just unbelievable. You couldn't write it in a movie script, and the fact that we finished third and still qualified for the Champions League, I'd agree with you, is a testament to the work that Klopp has done.
It was like Roy at the Rovers. And even though even though the forward line wasn't even shooting on all cylinders, Nat Phillips was right in that kind of thing. He just came in and steady the ship, saved the season. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head there. We lost Van Dijk after a couple of games. You know, we had a bad loss to Aston Villa. No, he was involved in that, but straight after that we lost him in everything. Immediately after his first game with us, Thiago, we lost him. He was out for 4 to 5 months. Then a few weeks later, obviously, then we lost Matip and Gomez, and Gomez was out long term again. Then Nat Phillips and Henderson had to move back to the back line, right? Which left us with feck all in the midfield, really. You know, Genie Wijnaldum had to come in and he was overworked and stuff, you know. So Shaqiri was getting more games. I mean, these
Yeah,
people are no longer at the club anymore. So it
yeah,
just goes to show you, you know, what happened. But the biggest thing that caught us was it limited so much what Trent and Robbo could do
100%.
in
Yeah,
on the
they
wings.
didn't even look like the same
They
players at
weren't the
points
same
last
players
season.
at all. You know, it
Mm,
was too early of crosses. People were able to clear it easier. We couldn't penetrate through the middle. We used to linking up. The lads
yeah,
were knackered up front. You know, and they were beat. Like you could
they
just see it
didn't they
on the
didn't press in the same way, Kev. Like there was
no,
none of that pressure. They
there was no
weren't
gegenpressing.
able to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. So, but look, testament they pulled their socks up, and from about February
Mm,
onwards, it kind of took off for us,
yeah,
and we got all the right results. And we have a stronger squad this season, right? So I'm looking at it, yeah, City are unbeaten or something, whatever, it was a 12, 13, whatever like that.
mm.
They've had that run. Are they going to go 28 games unbeaten in a row?
Hopefully not.
You know, I
Mm,
cannot see any team, no matter how good they are, doing that.
getting that.
We've
Yeah.
had our bad losses. I know we're at the point where we're getting our run. We can go
Mm,
15 or 16 games, no problem unbeaten. There might be a draw in between that or something like that, you know, so I can see twists and
yeah.
turns happening. But I can see City at least, you know, losing to us, maybe another team just on a freak, and
Mm,
maybe another couple of draws in that before the end of the season. I can see that happening. I can
yeah.
also see us drawing, maybe if we're caught by a team or something like that. But it'll come down to fine margins again within a point of each other. And if that's the case from the gap, it like if we were to win this, I get it with the Newcastle United and thing back in the day. But if we were to win
Mm.
this on that City team that were at one point
Greatest
16
comeback.
points ahead,
Yeah.
that would be an unbelievable comeback
Mm,
to win
mm.
it. And we'd get the fucking the blemish of being the only Premier League side to be top at
Top
Christmas
of Christmas
and lose the
to not
league.
win.
Yeah, like it was a few times and the only team to do it, and we've done it like 2 or 3 times. So that could happen as well. So I was
Yeah.
kind of glad we weren't the top of Christmas this time because I'm just like,
Mm.
you know what? Let it be somebody else's fucking turn now. But
Yeah.
look,
Look, I
I can't.
agree.
I've been watching City recently, and yeah, they can grind out results or whatever that, but they have not been. You know, they've been countered a lot. Like
Mm.
even in what was the last game against one? It was only 1-0, wasn't it? Oh no, it was a 3-0.
No,
But
they
at the first
won 3 or
three or
4 nil
four
over the
nil, yeah,
weekend,
yeah, yeah.
didn't they?
But up until that point, that was in the second half. But up until that point,
Mm.
they were getting countered a hell of a
Yeah.
lot. You know, they were getting. You know, they were not. Was it Norwich? It was Norwich. Yeah.
Was that
So
who they played over the weekend?
yeah, and Norwich were giving them a fucking torrid time on the counter attack. Like they were getting it. They had chance after chance, like Norwich. Even though like City had the
Yeah.
majority of the possession of the ball, when Norwich did go forward, they had chance after chance. They should have scored 3 or 4 themselves. You know,
Yeah.
so the City are easily taken apart coming to the defence by a stronger team, and I'm hoping that the likes of Son and Kane can do damage. I'm hoping, you know, that there's a new young fella for Everton who's playing really well. Is it Goddard or what's his name?
Gordon, is it?
Gordon is it Gordon? I
Yeah.
don't it's Goddard or something. I don't know what his name is. He's playing well when he comes into the Everton side. But you got Calvert Lewins and you know Van de Beek is starting to look well for
Everton have great
Everton.
players. They have a good
Deli Ali
team.
played a
Yeah.
fantastic ball in for them the other day.
Yeah.
You know, no, we can still beat them. No, like hands down,
Yeah.
but they can do these kind of teams can do damage to City because they've got penetrating passers, and that's the kind of stuff. As long as the team's got has got a good couple of penetrating passers in their squad, then you know they can hurt teams like City as long as they can defend well.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'd be worried about with a Frank Lampard team, can they defend well? Because that was the kind of thing he
This
was
is
lacking.
it.
So it's more like that they can do damage, but can they defend well? Look, I'd like Spurs to maybe nick a win or United to nick a win, and one of the other two to grab a draw somewhere in there, leave us with
Yeah.
the damage, and it's within a point. It puts
Yeah.
so much pressure on City that you know they can start when they were put under pressure. The time we won the league, they crumbled.
They did. They did.
They just disappeared. Like they had a chance to go like what was it 7 points clear of us at one
Mm.
point when they were because they played an extra couple of games.
Mm.
But no, actually the season we won the league, we won it from the very
No,
start.
we were a good few
Yeah, yeah.
points ahead of them. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
they tries to pull it in when we got a draw or something like that, and they didn't. They bottled it, and then we went a gap again. Then we beat them again, and then it went on. That's what it was. And even the season before that, we had a chance to do it, and they did it. So if you put them under enough pressure, they tend to crumble. And as
Mm.
good as the Pep's football is, and as good as they are, you can see it happening in the Champions League to them. It happens time and
Mm.
time again. They got to the final last season, and you know, and Chelsea beat them. I didn't give Chelsea a hope
No, I thought City would win that.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought they would, you know.
So
I know Chelsea, look, they're a great team, and on their
yeah,
day, they can probably beat anyone, but
yeah,
I thought that was Pep's final. And
yeah,
yeah, but there you go. I
yeah,
suppose that's the thing with Pep, isn't it? That's where the
yeah,
question marks will come from. Could he do it with a team that doesn't have as much money?
yeah.
And unless he wins another Champions League, will he be considered? No, in my
Oh,
opinion, he is
is
one of
that
the
my
greatest
baby
managers.
going? Can you hear that baby in the background?
No.
You can't? All right. Let's making sure you can hear the baby in the background. I can hear the baby crying. I was just making sure like the one coming over.
Could be Pep crying about
Could be Pep crying, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
about
sorry
losing
guys.
the
We have a
league or
newborn
whatever.
baby in this house. She's only 2 weeks old. So I'm just making sure you didn't hear the baby. I'd introduce. If she wants to talk in camera, you can bring her in. She can talk in camera. Like, don't just sit there and just kind of go.
Hang on, I
This
can
is
hear something there now.
she's
Or
bald.
can I?
Is she baldy? I might bring her in there for the crack. Hang on, we'll have a look at this now for this little. We get it. Danny. No, they're not there. She's closed the door. All right, we're good.
Close it off.
All right.
So what was I going to say? So I
Right.
suppose, yeah, just in terms of as well, I probably touching it a bit. Just in terms of like players that have come back, like
Mm.
let's say from now till the end of the season,
Yeah.
okay. If you were to pick out maybe other than the obvious, your Salah or whatever, if you were
Yeah.
to pick out 2 or 3 players that you think might make a difference for Liverpool if we are successful this
Mm.
season, who would you be kind of pointing the finger at?
A fit Thiago.
Mm,
Jota, absolutely.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he's you might say like a Sadio Mane and a Salah can make the difference, but I
Mm.
think it's going to be more important the substitutions that Klopp makes
yeah,
off the bench in trying to win a game that's kind of tough to win, and that's
yeah.
where you want to see it. No longer does he have to rely on bringing a Divock
Divock.
Origi or even a Minamino off the bench or any of
Mm,
these. He's now got Luis Diaz to come off the bench. He's got a
yeah.
Harvey Elliott to come off the bench.
Harvey Elliott, yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
an Oxlade-Chamberlain to come off the bench. You know, Jones is there now to come off. Jones didn't even make the
Mm,
squad the other day.
no.
You know, so that'll tell you, like, you know, he said he was giving him rest. Luis Diaz was given a rest the other day, and Dr. Klopp's comments was, you know, we're introducing him to English football, but I wasn't going to introduce him to Burnley on a weekend in that rain and say welcome to
In that
English football
weather.
and leave him have a bad game, you know. So he was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, no, we will. He'll get his test on these ones, but let's get it out of the way. We give him a nice little intro in
Mm,
the games before, but it's Sadio's time now to come back and do all of that kind of stuff, and then
yeah.
I do feel that we'll see him now playing on the weekend against I
Mm.
think we have Norwich this weekend, haven't we? And
I
it's
think it's very
yeah,
exciting, isn't it? That like even the other day, I know when you had like
yeah,
Bobby, Salah, and Mane in the pitch, and then you think to yourself, Jesus, he can bring on Jota,
mm,
he could bring on Luis Diaz,
yeah.
he could bring on Harvey Elliott.
Completely
It's
changed the
like,
country.
oh, it's like I think we've gone up a notch
Yeah,
in my mind having those because I always thought like 1 to 11 we arguably have the best team in the league, but
yeah.
now we've these extra few options that are kind of back from
I
injury,
like
coming into form, and just joined the club as
like
well.
we've said it.
It's
We
brilliant.
still need some sort of flair midfielder, central
Mm,
midfielder rather than attacking midfielder. Somebody who can
yeah,
do both.
yeah.
Because I do think that Henderson is going to be looked at being replaced coming in the near
Mm.
future. You know, or just somebody to come in and do that role. We said that we spoke about Declan Rice being able to do it.
Mm.
He's a massive Chelsea fan though, so you could.
I don't see us paying that money
I
in the
know I
first place,
don't
but
see us going to him. Rafinha could be worth the punt, as you said. He'd be a
yeah,
great boy
yeah,
to
yeah.
bring in there and play that role. So I do feel that that's but that like somebody's going to go in the midfield.
Mm,
I wish that Naby Keita would stay fit. I really wish, because when he does play, he nicks and he wins the ball. He's so
yeah,
much help to Fabinho back there,
absolutely,
and
yeah.
allowing Thiago to free up. It's ridiculous. Like he helps him out something fierce. Like he was playing the other day and he was nicking every. Like you'd never think he's
He's a
going to
good
get the
reading
ball.
of the game, doesn't he? He's kind
Yeah,
of be able to preempt things that are going to happen and where people are
he's
going
got
to
a bit
be
of a
and stuff.
Kante about him when he wants to get going that way,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's another fella that has struggled with injury. So if I could keep a Keita and he plays more often than Kante in our
Mm,
squad, keep him. But who's really going to go? They're looking at kind of bringing in somebody now that has to play that central midfield to attack the
mm,
midfield road. So
yeah,
somebody who can drift on that left and right of the central midfield while Fabinho sits in the centre, while maybe Thiago drifts off it. But Thiago's 30 years of age now,
yeah.
so he was brought in for those couple of seasons to do what he needs to do. Hopefully, he stays injury free. And even if he plays a big part, he's a brilliant player to bring off the bench and do what he needs to
Absolutely.
do. So, would you rather Thiago coming off the bench than maybe a young Martin who will be given a chance in the cups?
Mm,
But yeah, you would rather the brain of of Thiago any day of the week.
I think at the moment you'd go for Thiago, obviously, because he's a
Yeah.
class player. You could even see
Yeah.
the difference. And I think the stats now might be 1 or 2 games off. I think
Yeah.
himself and Fabinho have played like 17 games together,
Yeah.
or won 16 and drew 1. So
Yeah.
that speaks for itself, like, you know. He's absolutely a world-class player. He's brilliant in every way. The only thing I would say about him is that he's maybe in terms of pace a little bit slower getting back,
Yeah.
and he does trend the odd stupid foul. But look, Paul Scholes done that as well back in his day, you know. So sometimes you have to forgive a great player that, you know, they can't do everything, I
He
suppose.
creates going forward. That's all I care about.
Brilliant,
You know,
brilliant.
he's not a tackler. He's brought in to be a
Yeah.
creator and a central midfield player.
So
That's a link up.
silky. Like,
Yeah.
he's so silky the way he passes the
He,
ball.
he's an anchor point, you know. So
Yeah,
he's the one that you swing that ball to swing to somebody else, and then he looks for it, and then he's about to see that pass.
Was it Salah that he played the ball out to at one point? It was like one of his first touches, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, it was like you'd nearly slow it down to
Yeah.
look at it again,
Yeah.
like, you know. And you were saying there about Naby as well.
Yeah.
And just another interesting point, because it seems like Naby's been around a long enough time now, but always been injured, so he kind of comes in and out of the team sort of thing. Like, he only turned 27 the other day. I would love if he was one of these players that like just had a few niggles, you know, which he always had for it, and now he just gets a good run, like a proper run for a couple of seasons, and becomes that player that we thought we were buying in the first place, you know, because he has that ability.
He's a very similar issue, as I said before, as Jordan Henderson. And Jordan Henderson went away, and he became better player when he did it. Just go and break the ankle, reset it, leave him out for the 4 months, and even come back in, do it throughout the summer. You know, you've got no tournaments coming up this summer, is there?
No, you've the World Cup at Christmas, like, so.
Is that at Christmas?
That's at Christmas, yeah. Next,
Is it?
yeah, it's this year, isn't it? It's this Christmas in Qatar, I think. Yeah.
Is it Christmas?
Yeah, it's
What
Christmas.
a stupid decision.
I know, that's another thing. No, that could fuck us up in next season.
Are they going to just half the season?
Oh, I don't know what the exact thing is. Like, international football, I just do away with it the best of days.
I'm hoping that they don't continue the season on throughout.
No, it will stop. It will stop. There'll be a break. It will stop completely, I think.
Go like in the pandemic into like June or July.
Yeah, might go a bit longer on the other end, or start a bit earlier after this summer. I don't know what way, but look, I'm sure they have it all worked out already, you know. But that's this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, but look,
so we'll see how that goes.
Unbelievable. I watched them in Germany when RB Leipzig were at their biggest power and you know, highest in our biggest form, I should say. And he was outstanding for them, like, you know. So
and
absolutely. We've seen a few earlies as well. We've seen him kind of the attempts at doing it at Liverpool, but it's just that he always seems like maybe a pace off when it comes to doing certain things. Like, he's tired from all the tracking and stuff. He's never had to do that in RB Leipzig, and his body's never really adjusted to it. But I'd like to see him saying, right, now I'm going to get over these injury worries. I'm going to really work on it, especially coming into this summer, because I don't think they're going to get rid of him in the summer. If we are, it's going to be for nice money. But it's but if he does and he comes through, I'd like to see him really working on the strength of his fitness and the quality
100%,
and the standards of his legs, so that he can, you know, sustain an entire season. You
know, like, I haven't given up hope on him yet, like, particularly since he's only just turned 27, you know. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for him.
I love Ox, but I've kind of given up more on him because of the, you know.
And again, he's still so young, like, as well, unbelievably. Like, I think he's only around the same age.
I really want him to do well coming out. Like, I'd like him to come on and do the bit part thing, but like I said to you before about Ox, he'll come in and he'll have one good world.
Have a great game, and then he dies away.
He's disappear. You know, if he does score, he disappears the rest of the game. I've done my job now, and that's it. But that's just it's like a muscle memory thing for him. It just happens, you know. And it's not like he's trying to think, I'm going to do my best, but then he's just kind of like, but it's okay, you did this. But it's okay, I did this.
He's hanging around with that pick and mix one far too long. I've always said it, like, you know.
Well, like, yeah. So look, we're looking at that. But what we can say is how good Fabinho's been in the last few weeks, and how good Jota has been in the last weeks. If we can kind of touch on them, Jota's, you know, scoring all around. And
Unbelievable.
Got 5 and 7.
Yeah,
you know, and
he's just an immense player, isn't he, Fabinho?
Yeah,
he's just immense. Like, he adds so much to the team. Jesus.
He's passing with that. Thiago's and Keita came on the Thiago's has been at 90-something% in his passing ratio. Naby Keita has been at 91%. So when they came on for Henderson and what's about the other day, like, Henderson had only 50% of his passes completed.
Really?
In the game the other day, which shows that, you know, he's a bit
well,
off.
He got a knock early on, didn't he? And
he had
fully
a knock for the
recovered.
back the other day, so I don't think. Look, I'm not going to say anything about our captain. He has worked his arse off for the team, and he's been a fantastic captain. But maybe he does need a couple of weeks rest
Yeah, yeah,
to
and he was
recuperate because
injured as
he
well,
can't.
so
But that's his doing because he wants to play every game like any other
mm,
football would. But any other football of his caliber and his mindset would. See, he's a very
yeah,
similar caliber to Milner. You know, he wants to play the games. He doesn't want to be on the sidelines, but maybe he just has to do it to
take a step
prolong his
back.
career in Liverpool. You
Absolutely.
know, so. But that's the good thing because now we have players that can come in and do it. Now we have fit players. They're all there. Harvey Elliott came on. He came on the other day and he was kind of quiet coming into the game. It was a tough game with Burnley.
Mm,
Doesn't suit his style of play a little bit, but he was still linking up well together. He still
yeah,
showed signs. The game against Cardiff, he shot and that goal was fantastic.
yeah.
Um,
I'm
so
very, very excited about Harvey Elliott. I think he's
I
going to
think
be a worldie.
I think it suits him to play against Norwich this weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would you I would have, well, yeah, maybe Fabinho, Thiago, and like who's going to play tomorrow night? That's the thing. Is he going
Yeah,
to
like
Is he going to rest Henderson? Is he going to play him in the cup? I don't know. Would you play Luis Diaz in the Champions League
might be. Yeah, well,
against
he
Inter
has
Milan?
Champions League experience.
Yeah,
I think playing on a pitch like the San Siro would definitely benefit someone like him. Um, I think yeah. Listen, I don't know if he'll start him, but I definitely would
yeah.
have him involved.
I think that like we'll see. I think it could be a case of Mane, Jota, Salah starting tomorrow night
Yeah, yeah,
in
that
the
would be a
thing
good call.
because
Good call.
Jota's he's a good history against the Italian teams scoring so far since he's been at Liverpool. Like
Mm.
he got a hat trick against Atalanta,
And
that
look,
time and yeah,
Inter are home as well, so it's up to them to bring it on to us. So the pace of Jota there up
yeah.
the middle as well. There's always the chance of
That's the
getting
only
one or
thing
two
that's
on the
making me
break.
like second guess it and think is he going to play Bobby,
Mm,
because hold up play counter attack and he can link up well play and leave Salah Mane do their thing. Will they do
yeah,
that? Then bring on Luis Diaz later to give him a run out into the thing. So I'm thinking it's more likely going to be that. I would definitely
it's
have
great. It's great just to be able to talk about these
yeah,
options, isn't it?
yeah. So I would give I would give Fabinho but he has this habit. But this is okay. This is knockout stages, and he does
Mm,
have habits in the cup in the group stages of giving Milner starts and
mm.
stuff in the games. But I would have Fabinho, Keita, maybe a Jones. They might do instead of a Thiago, give him a rest for the weekend, or he'd play a Thiago in the league and start the lads with a weaker side on against Norwich, which is probably what I would do. So
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying a
yeah,
weaker side. I would have like definitely on Saturday I would have Luis Diaz and Harvey Elliott starting
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then bring on Mane after that. The Mane now gets rest. He gets to
yeah.
recuperate. He will turn into an absolute worldie for the last 3 months of the
Mm.
season.
And
You know,
he's someone that probably needs a bit of rest from
he
time to
does.
time because
He
sometimes
does.
I think he just overdoes it.
Yeah,
Gets frustrated,
yeah,
probably gets tired.
yeah.
He was. Both him and Salah just shows you how brilliant athletes they
Mm.
are. That they went all the way to the African nations
Mm.
and then they came back and they started
Straight
playing
away.
straight away.
Yeah,
They
with
probably
no
need a
break.
rest, but look, fair play to them.
But now they know they just want to be part of the squad and back into it, and
Mm,
now they know they can get a rest.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
Salah did the other when he first came on, he was brought on
Mm.
late, and but
And did you see the reception he got that
yeah,
day?
that was
I looked
magnificent.
at it again online. There was something like how would you describe it? It reminded me. Do you ever see like the old scenes of Bill Shankly when he used to
Mm.
walk over the hands aloft to
Yeah,
the crowd, and
yeah.
there was something like it was immense. I suppose immense is probably the only word
It
I
was
could
like
use.
if Suarez when Suarez came back from his 10 game ban, that kind of situation.
Mm,
When
mm,
Torres came
mm.
back from that bad injury and the crowd
Yeah.
went nuts, it was the
Or
same. Salah's getting
when
the same.
Julia came back from the heart attack.
Houllier
Do you
came
know
back from the
these?
heart attack. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, against
so
Rome at that time.
it's all of these are the scenario. That just shows you
Yeah,
how highly the club think of him.
yeah,
With regard to his contract situation, I can see it getting done. There's no way he's going to go anywhere else in the planet. Barcelona can't afford him. Real
no.
Madrid can't afford him. They don't have the money. PSG probably could, but does he want to play
Mm.
in France? Does he want
Farmers
to?
League.
Yeah, do you want to play? Do you really want to go there? You can see what's after happening to Gini Wijnaldum since he went
Yeah,
there. He can
yeah,
see what's after happening to Philip Coutinho since going that way.
yeah.
No, Salah might think, I don't give a shit. I'm 30 odd now. I want to make sure that my future is sorted. I think it will get sorted, but I just think I'm hoping that his expectations of the salary he's looking for. I don't think Liverpool will go above 320,000
Mm,
a week for him or something like that. If he's thinking that it's going to be up around the 400 or something like that, he's sadly mistaken because that's not going to.
mm,
Liverpool
mm.
aren't going to do that. The owners will sell him, um, in the summer if they need to make the money.
Well, I
Um,
think that there's been some conversations around the fact that that's what Luis Diaz is if things don't work out.
yeah,
Regarding Salah, that like he's that bit of backup, basically, or future proofing
yeah,
themselves, I suppose.
yeah,
Um, they'll probably buy someone else then as well if Salah does leave. Now, in saying all that, I don't even kind of want to think that way because I don't think he's going to leave. Like,
No,
if you look at the options that are there, you already touched on Madrid, Barcelona. The way the Spanish league is, no, it's not what it was.
don't mind. Italy
If I
can't even
was a,
afford a fifth of his wages.
yeah, if I was in his shoes, there's only one club where I'd want to be at, and that's Liverpool
Yeah,
Football Club.
yeah.
I don't think there's anywhere else for him, to be honest with you.
Does Man City, but he would never. He couldn't go across. He would ruin his entire legacy at Liverpool if he went across the.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
he went across the league.
I
And
don't see
Liverpool
that
don't
happening.
No, Liverpool can't sell to them. Like, like
No.
before it happened with Sterling, going to City that way from us,
Mm.
because he kind of forced his way out. But I can't see that scenario where Salah would ruin his entire legacy at Liverpool by forcing him to move through like that, because it
No.
spoiled Torres's legacy. It's just,
Absolutely.
Torres is
Absolutely.
kind of semi-forgiven. We
Mm.
fondly remember what he did for us,
Yeah, of
but
course.
he doesn't get regarded the same as a Gerrard, a Carragher,
No.
a Suarez. Even at that stage, because even though Suarez moved, he's still more highly regarded than Torres for the
Well, at
move
least
to
he went to
Chelsea.
Barcelona, which is
That's
a
what I'm
move you
saying.
can kind of
He moved out
understand, I
to, yeah.
suppose.
Even Coutinho gets kind of less stick
Mm.
than what Torres would because of going across that way.
Yeah,
Sterling
yeah.
is a prime example of not being liked by the club anymore because of going to City. So
I think whatever club Sterling goes to, once he leaves, nobody likes him. I think he's just
yeah,
one of those guys, like,
yeah, in an interview there was it about 2 months ago, where he said he was
going
learning
learning
French
French.
and learning French there at the moment. So
He's a weasel, isn't he?
he's a rat. He is, like, he's a rat. Like. Come on, it's called a spade. A spade.
Oh
He is
God! I was actually
good
looking
player,
at him
but a
over the
rat.
weekend. There, he got the hat trick
Mm.
for City against Norwich, and I was kind of thinking, Jesus, would we have him back? Like, forget about all the emotion and stuff like that.
No,
But he
he wouldn't
he
fit into the
wouldn't
squad.
he wouldn't get into the team.
No, he
He
wouldn't.
wouldn't
No.
get into the team, so there'd be no point with that lad at all. Like, for
Yeah.
like even the fact that we
Yeah.
don't like him. I'm saying even if we did like him, I
And it
don't think
just
he'd
came
get in
out
the
there.
team
He's
anyway.
after winning the most penalties in the history and penalty attempts in the history of the league. He's won
Penalty
20.
attempts or penalties?
No, penalties.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Yeah, 23 penalties he's won.
Really?
Yeah, from going over in the box, and many attempts where they
Jeez.
weren't given, or that they went to, in that way, pretty much like diving.
Mm.
So yeah, he's got it there, 23 with the thing the other day in the history of the league. That's a lot. Like.
Says a lot about him. Says a lot about him.
Yeah, and people never talk about him, but they talk about Salah, who won about 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
I suppose Sterling is English, isn't he?
It is, yeah.
So it makes a difference.
Anyway,
Come
looking
here,
ahead to what you say? What were we going to say?
no,
there?
I was going to say what you just said there.
Yeah.
Go on.
We will look ahead to Inter Milan and Norwich, I suppose. But I mean,
Mm.
we can tap on Norwich just a little bit.
Yeah.
But look, they've been playing well a few games ago. But it's a different kettle of fish having to come to Anfield, really, isn't it? For that kind of Norwich side, they played
Yeah.
really well against City until they kind of crumbled a bit, or the chances that City got. It was kind of luck of decisions, one anything else, and then there was a couple of good plays by City on their part to get in there, but that was after Norwich were after kind of shutting up shop. So like Dean Smith he's doing well at Norwich there. He could bring him out of there, but the only two teams that I can see probably dropping in there are a Leeds or a Brentford outside Everton and Newcastle, because I think at this stage now, Brentford are in danger because Everton have 3 games in hand on them, right? With 2 points behind. Leeds have 2 games in hand on them with 1 point behind. And if they win those games, like if Leeds were, well, they're not going to win one of those games because one of those games is us. But if they were to win the other one of those, they've already moved ahead of them in the league, and Brentford have they have won at all in I don't know how many bloody games. It's showing for me here 5 or 6, but they've drawn 1 and the rest were all losses. The next team up from that was Crystal Palace, who are and they're like, I don't know how they're in danger there, because Vieira's done well.
Yeah,
with
they
them
were
all season.
showing some good form, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, in terms of the relegation teams, like, again, as I said, unless there's a miracle, I think that the 3 that are at the bottom now, I'd fancy all of them to be the ones that are going to drop, like,
I think so.
I think so.
I think Brentford will sneak into that equation a bit.
Do you think so?
I think they'll drop down a bit. Yeah, I think they'll end up in like 17th or something like that at least. I think Newcastle will just move up. I think you're going to see like a shift between Newcastle and Brentford there. I think they're going to swap places.
Yeah.
Above that, I know if Palace will drop down. surprised that Aston Villa are there they're in 12th, I suppose, and Palace in 13th, but there's not much of a difference down
in
to.
terms of points.
Yeah, I mean Palace are okay because they're level on games with Norwich, and um there's like 7 points of a gap. Anyway, look, I digress, but I do think that Brentford are going to start dropping down there because they're on relegation form. They haven't won in I don't know how long. Leeds have at least won 2 in the last 5.
Christian Eriksen is there now, sure, isn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah, he could
I
make a
wonder will he give him a
difference.
boost if he's
Yeah.
like obviously healthy enough to play at the levels that he played at before, because he's a fantastic player. Like,
And Ivan Toney is injured at the moment.
okay,
So yeah,
okay.
so it's and Werner is a nice player. I don't think he'll leave the Premier League even if they go down. He's a handy player, like
There's some good
So
players in that team,
yeah,
like
there is. Yeah, it's just Newcastle haven't lost in the last 5 or 6.
Oh,
So that's why
listen,
I think they're
I
on the
think
way up.
Newcastle are going to
Yeah.
take off now. Like, do you know, they're
Anyway,
not going
we're
to
going
be
back to the
in that
relegation
battle.
battle there, small bit. So I'll pick it in. Inter Milan.
Yes, so tomorrow night in the San Siro, I think considering Inter Milan, I believe, are second in Serie A at the moment. I think AC probably have a point on them. I think it's pretty close. But I think considering the way we moved through the group stages in the Champions League initially, what we did to AC Milan as well, and we didn't even play a full bloody team. Like,
They're both at the top of the league again.
yeah,
So there's a point. Yeah.
I just think there's a gap between English football and Italian football.
Yeah.
And I don't think Inter have enough within their team to be able to bridge that gap. I know it's knockout football, but it's over 2 legs as well. I think
I do think
to do a job on them.
I do think the top of the Italian league is more at the standard of the UEFA Cup places,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm kind
absolutely.
of looking at that way,
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. It's not to put down Italian football, just Italian football hasn't been Italian football for Jesus 15 years now or something like that. Like, so ever since AC Milan were in finals and into a few years later.
And they had fantastic teams. Fantastic teams.
Ever since that. So maybe about 10 years. Similar to United, that kind of time they all went down on a dip in the same time,
I was actually chatting to an Italian yesterday, and he is an Inter Milan fan. He's from there, and even he said to me, like, we were talking about football in general, and he said Italian football has not been good for a very long time. He said there's a lot of trouble in Italian football. There's racism, there's corruption, there's violence in the stands.
They're destroying their own game with their attitude.
Yeah, it's kind of like English football in the 80s, I suppose,
No, but I've noticed that a lot with Italians. They're a different breed. You'd see them and they're all loving and family, and you see it's a great place to go to and all of that. But when it comes to their belief systems and stuff like that, they're really Neanderthalic.
You can't say that about a while, Italy.
It's what it is when it comes to the football in terms of the races. Okay. They're a bit.
Yeah, no, look. Did you remember we were saying today about ultras, that ultra thing from Italian football? I'm not into that at all, and it's not good. I don't think it's good for the Italian game. And as soon as they kind of wipe that stuff out and kind of modernize things a little bit more over there, I think they're in trouble, basically,
Yeah, that's but at the moment, Inter are sitting second in their league. They have a game in hand on Milan, and Milan are a point above them. So Inter are on course there to take over at the top of the league. Again, they won the league last season, but that's with the likes of Lukaku and all of that. But it's kind of I don't know. You say it's very similar to Scottish football in a way, or French football, where it's the same 2 or 3 clubs that are up around the top all the time. Your Celtic, your Rangers, your Aberdeens, your stuff like that. Like, they're always kind of thereabouts. And Napoli is on the same points in third with 2 points behind the leaders.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. So.
All right, interesting.
But like then there's a big gap back to Juventus, which is like 7 points or something. But like Inter are like 8 points ahead of them with a game in hand. So like they're that's where you got your top 3 is kind of there. But it looks like it's a race between the top 2. Anyway, coming into that, they've 1 loss in the last 5, the same as AC Milan, but we pretty much we gave, I think, AC Milan a bit more credit than what they deserved, and in our dips when it happens in games where we have lost, where we've learned our lesson earlier on the season, where Brighton we'd have, remember I keep telling you we had that 8-minute period where people tended to score against us. AC Milan did it to us, Brighton did it to us, City did it to us in our dip. But we've learned to kind of steady that now, and with the team that we've back, we're not having that kind of dip anymore. And if we are, we're controlling it, we're clearing it, we're moving on. We're still giving them possession away for those 5 or 6 minutes, and then we come back where it looks like they're having a period. We build up their hopes, and then we demolish them. So
good way of putting it.
So
I think, look, all that being said and done, I think Liverpool or any of the teams towards the top end of English football
Yeah.
should have no problems in playing
Yeah.
any Italian team and over 2 legs coming out victorious. I don't see Inter Milan as a huge challenge. I genuinely just think we have a better team than they do, and the league is in better condition as well at the moment. So I'd fancy us to beat them, obviously,
Yeah.
and just move on to the next round then after that.
So what do you think for the rest? I think PSG and Real Madrid.
I think that's an interesting one. So they're kind of flashy clubs, really, aren't they? I think PSG are home for that as well. Look, I think PSG might have enough to edge that.
Yeah.
Back to Spain then after that, though, you know.
Is Benzema still on form? Because he was in great form last season.
Last I heard he was, but I don't pay a great deal of attention to the Spanish league at the moment.
I paid attention
it's not
to
what it
Atletico
used to be.
Madrid, but that was about it. Yeah.
Say that again.
I paid
Atletico, is it?
Yeah, after the last couple of seasons, but I haven't paid attention much to the rest of them really. All I know is that they were like in a bad state. So I was like, nah, I really want to watch this game.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell has happened to Eden Hazard at Real Madrid, but he just looks
I know.
like
He just got fat, I'd say. That's what it is.
What the hell, like, you know?
Do you know what else I'm sick of as well?
Yeah.
I'm sick of people comparing Hazard and Salah. I don't even think they should be in the same conversation. I think even Hazard at his best, and he was very good with Chelsea. I think Salah's streets ahead of him. Streets ahead of him. And I know I'm not going crazy by saying that, but like when particularly things online, maybe a lot of Chelsea fans saying Hazard was this, that, and the other. I never thought, like, I thought he was a great player, don't get me wrong, but he was never ever for me in the conversation being the greatest player in the world. Whereas Salah, in my opinion, at the moment is the greatest player in the world and probably has been for a while as well. I would never put Hazard up at that level.
Yeah.
So just to add that.
Sporting and City.
Well, City all the way, I suppose. Should be an easy enough job for them, you know.
Make it easier for there. Salzburg and Bayern Munich.
Well, obviously, Bayern Munich. I like looking at all the. Go through it again, and I'll make that point. But looking at all the teams in the Champions League, like I really fancy us, and maybe City and Munich would be the two that I kind of have my eye on. You know,
you're hoping that some team catches them. To get them
and it always does happen with City. Like I'd be more worried about Munich.
And we caught Roma then, like, you know. So Chelsea and Lille.
Well, Chelsea obviously.
Chelsea, yeah. Villarreal and Juventus. We've been kind of semi-poor. I mean, Chelsea destroyed them in their group.
Villarreal. I'd fancy Juventus.
Yeah, you would still say Juventus.
Yeah, but just that bit of nose, like, you know.
Atletico and United.
Atletico.
So it's
100%.
Yeah, you know, you'd like to see kind of. I'm not worried about any of the two of them teams going forward.
I'd love to get Atletico out of it, though. They do my head.
They do, and like when but you don't want United to do it. You don't want to give them the boost.
No.
They'll get a Chelsea or something next, and hopefully do that.
Yeah.
Or they can't get us again. I think till 2 rounds away.
Okay.
So I think.
Yeah, sure, we had them. Yeah.
So Benfica and Ajax, that'd be a good game, though.
It would, yeah, and I suppose it's man Ten Hag at the moment. Ajax are looking all right, so we go for Ajax in that one, I suppose.
I think so. But that's it. That's the games that are coming up for the first leg, the second legs again.
And again, I'll make that point from you just went through the full list of teams, and I would really like this. This is probably another thing, and we'll probably end it on that or whatever. But like, we're technically still in 4 competitions, right?
Yeah.
If you asked me at the start of the season, I would have given away the League Cup and the FA Cup, no problem.
Yeah.
And just concentrate on the
league
league
in the final,
and the Champions League. No, absolutely. And this is kind of hypocrisy of football fans. And not only that, no, my mind is thinking after signing Luis Diaz and Harvey Elliott coming back and Thiago and players like this. Now I'm going, fucking get the 4 of them. Do you know what I mean?
Just go for the competitions. So like,
that's the insanity of football, the way your mind can change like that, even though you try and base it on evidence.
That's what I want to see. Like, I suppose it's just the position of the likes of where Liverpool are in the league that can comfortably say, look, we didn't have the strongest squad as City did, so City could go for all 4, no problem. But we could, but Klopp had a focus, and the focus was the league and the Champions League, and rightly so. And if we got the rest of it with the youth, we did. So fair juice to the the third, let's say, call it the third or
Yeah.
fourth string
Your
squad
Queeving
that got us,
Kelleher's
yeah, and got
yeah.
us to the final. And now
Mm.
let's just go in there and play a Chelsea side and beat them, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you want the bragging rights, you want the extra trophy. We were the most successful team in this competition, I think, until I don't know if Chelsea, I don't know if City are after catching up with us, but I know
They'd be up there anyway. I think we had
league.
8 or 9 of them. And I
So
suppose the thing
yeah,
is, well, like we're in the
we're
final. Success breeds success, and picking up trophies is a great habit as well. You know.
yeah. So like so at the moment, what the hell is I saying now? This League Cup most titles won. How's it saying it's 8? Where's Liverpool in that conversation? Hang on.
I think Liverpool have
Uh,
around 8 or 9 as well. I think we're in that bracket.
yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know where the numbers are. It should
So
be like we the highest for 3 years until City start to win a few minutes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we have the same.
so we're,
Yeah,
we're tied on 8, are we?
yeah, we're tied on 8 with City.
Okay,
So there's no
so
chance to take
obviously,
back the title in this, being the
yeah,
highest
yeah,
winners of the
yeah,
League
the,
Cup.
the most successful
You know,
club in that competition. Yeah,
yeah.
no,
So
that'd be fantastic.
but that'll just tell you why, because City went, right? So they won it in 70 and 76, but they won it in 2014, didn't win it in 2015, then won it 2016, didn't win it in 2017, won it in
Mm.
2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. They've won it in the last 4 seasons.
But you see, like back in the early 80s, I think
Yeah.
from like 1980,
Yeah.
80, 81 up until
82,
84,
83. Yeah.
85,
Yeah.
we
81,
done
80,
that as
yeah.
well.
81,
I was
82,
4 in a
83,
row,
84.
wasn't it?
Yeah. 81, 82, 83, 84. And we got 95, 2001, 2003, and 2012.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 2012,
that's
Jesus,
the
and that's another thing as well, Kev. I suppose
it's
if you
too
think about
far
it
away
that
for
way, right?
domestic trophies,
It's like in terms of domestic honor,
Yeah.
that's the last one we've had. And I think, like, even though, like, for me, like the first football game I can ever remember is the 1986 FA Cup final.
Yeah.
You had that 1980s
Yeah.
sunny Wembley weather, and that's the thing that always like makes me happy when I think about that. So even though Wembley is different now, and we haven't been there, and I suppose in 10 years, the
It's
fact
going
that
to
we
be a
will be there,
spectacle.
it never feels the place that
Place.
Liverpool are like
Yeah.
at Wembley. Does you always get that? I always get that 1980s
fuzz, yeah,
Wembley
that-
vibe,
yeah.
and I get excited. I feel like a
Yeah.
child,
Yeah,
So I'm looking
you
forward to
just
it.
want to bring out the
for that.
stripy fucking early 1992. You want to bring out the candy jerseys and the
Candy jersey.
Yeah,
I think in 86 was that candy. I think it was Chrome Paints, wasn't
could have
it?
been chrome paints. Yeah, but
Chrome Paints, yeah.
it's all those jerseys. You candy chrome paints
Yeah, we won
into
the
calves
double. That
now.
was the season we won the double,
Yeah.
basically. And Kenny was the player manager. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. And it's so funny then as well
Yeah.
that Kenny is the last manager to win a domestic trophy.
Yeah.
I think Jurgen deserves one, so
He
hopefully.
does, yeah. He has to say that he's been involved in every competition, that kind of way.
Yeah.
He does, and Chelsea have won a few trophies now this season as well, with the Club World Cup and the Super
absolutely.
Cup and stuff like that. So that's 2 alone for them this season. They'll want to go for this as well. But I
100%.
just think as a final team and our atmosphere that we bring as supporters and the players that we have, I think we can do Chelsea over in this one. But like, we should have done them
Absolutely.
over a few weeks ago, but we let them back into the game stupidly. Now there was a great goal from Kovacic and all of that, but it was a stupid.
It was a great goal.
Stupid. It was our own fault, really. I can't see that happening in a League Cup final. I think we'll shut down shop. I think we'll go for it. It'll be a tight affair, and it could be a 2-1 kind of thing. But you don't want to see it kind of going to penalties and being a long haul. You want to win it in 90 minutes and just make sure of it. Get an early goal, maybe score another early goal second half, and hopefully, even if they do nick one, just hold them out until the end.
Yeah.
But we've
And
got this
then
quality.
use that victory to build our confidence and win the other 3 trophies.
That'd be brave, isn't it? But like, after all the talk,
making us the greatest club
brilliant.
side in the history of football.
It'd be brilliant to shut down, to just like demolish United's treble winning thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Just
and
to
even
turn out-
City's triple trophy collection then
Yeah,
as well, like
yeah.
because they won the 3 domestic
They
honors,
did.
So
yeah, that'd be great as well to do that, So
we're probably dreaming, we're even wet dreaming over. Who cares? We have to hope.
we're allowed to. We're allowed to wet dream. We're allowed to, we're allowed to do what we're doing. In that. So, well, look, that's Inter Milan. I think we're going to. That's the Champions League out of the way. There's not much else we can talk about really.
No.
We can do a show about Norwich, or we can do a small bit on them now. To see.
We'll do the watch along on the day, I suppose, maybe.
I suppose, yeah, and then we can talk about them just beforehand and do that, because there's not much coming up. Normally there'll be a couple of games in the week, but we have we could probably do a little bit on Norwich and Leeds coming up for the midweek game as well.
That's February 23rd. We have Leeds, isn't it?
Yes, the 20. It's 3 days
Yeah,
before the or 4 days before
before the cup
the
final.
cup final anyway, on the
Mm.
Sunday. So it's next Wednesday anyway. I know that. So it's Norwich on Saturday and it's Leeds next Wednesday, and then it's Chelsea on the Sunday. So we're keeping the games tight, but not as tight. So it gives us that
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
day of rest and practice and going. But I think I don't know if Chelsea have the same type of fixtures as us. I think they might.
They've handy enough fixtures as well, to be honest with you. I was looking at their fixtures, the next six, and
Yeah,
theirs, ours, and City's. City have
yeah.
the toughest run over the next 6 games. Chelsea are kind of like us, not handy, but like, easier, I suppose. Like,
Yeah, I mean they have Crystal Palace on the weekend, same time as us. Then they've
Mm.
got Lille. Then they've got well, Leicester City has been postponed. Yeah, they've only got 2 games before they play us.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so because their Leicester City game has been postponed, the same as our Arsenal game has been postponed
Right, right, right,
for the
right,
cup
right.
final. So, or it's our game in hand is what we're playing, and that's the Leeds one in
Yeah,
midweek.
yeah, yeah.
Um, which is
Well,
good.
hopefully
Look,
that works in our favor.
well,
Just keeps the oil going, like,
well, at
or
home
the
it's
engine going.
Anfield. It's Anfield
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
we're playing Anfield twice in a week before we go to play a cup final with the fans behind them saying,
Mm.
give them, you can do it on Sunday, lads, well done. All this kind of stuff, like, pat the back, just go out and destroy
Yeah.
them, finish them off in the first half, do something like that, and get it over with. And, it becomes more of a routine cup final. And hope that's what I would like to see. I would like to see less of the panic, less of the thing, even though it's great to watch a cup final back and
Mm.
forth, back and forth. I'd like to kind of win it a bit early if we could.
Yeah.
And get it out of the way. That'd be awesome. Yeah, but so I think they've Luton Town after that. So I'm not worried about that. I think, but the 2 games leading up is Crystal Palace and Lille
Yeah.
in the Champions League. And they have no weekend game because that's the weekend game. The following weekend after that, here comes Flash again, bye.
Flash
Coming in
the
for
name.
hello. No, come on. No, out you go. Right.
So hopefully we can make it like 1986 again pretty soon, huh?
Out, man. There you go. I'll be out in a minute. Maybe hug you then, aye. Right. He's looking for Nolo. He's up and he's like head into me and all of that. Flash, right? He's our biggest fan, lad. So I'm not gonna leave him off, He donates the most. What? Don't do that. He's coming in again. Right, so I think we leave it at that, Kev. Do you think?
Cool. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I think Flash is telling me to anyway.
He
So,
wants to be walked. He needs
he
to walk.
does, yeah. He does.
Right, so we leave it with I suppose acknowledging the fact that we were worried a couple of weeks ago, but we're a lot more hopeful now about Liverpool's
Yeah.
season ahead, and we are now optimistically aiming for 4 trophies.
Let's go game, and just win each game. Win each game
absolutely.
and worry about that. And then when it comes up to it and to beat City, hopefully pull within a minimum of 3 points of them then. And that'd be awesome. If we could do that, after that we beat them, pull within 3 points of them, and give them a worry for the last 6 games before the season.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Let's keep them worried. Let's keep that pressure on,
And at the same time, we can do that. We have to run the games to do it now, So, like our toughest games are probably obviously going to be Arsenal. We have to play them. We have to play United, but that's at home. So this is where I'm kind of seeing that the tough. We're playing Everton at home.
I want to rip United a new one. No, to be honest with you, I want to destroy them. Like
at Anfield, you do. So we've United at home. These are the kind of games I'm looking at coming up in these weeks. We've West Ham at home. We've Inter Milan at home in this period. We've the only tough one is there is obviously Man City away. We do have Aston Villa away, which can be a tough one.
Sorry, Stevie, we're gonna have to batter you.
Yes, we're gonna have to go. They're kind of on. He needs another couple of players in there that are just going to boost it. Coutinho's done well from and all of that, but he needs another couple of players in there. We have Everton at home. We have Spurs at home. We have Wolves at home. The teams that we're playing away are Southampton, Newcastle. Right, at that stage, that's 3 games to go. Right, Man City, Aston Villa, 2 tough ones. I granted in there, Brighton away. But we've good records away at Brighton. They have a better record nearly coming to us sometimes, So Brighton away, and that's it. We've a low Arsenal away, obviously, but that's
is it Wolves is the last game of the season?
Wolves is the last game of the season.
Yeah.
So we're at home, 22nd of May.
I suppose we're a lot more hopeful anyway. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Wolves is the last game of the season, 22nd of May, away from at home. Southampton before that, Spurs before that, at home at Anfield. Let them. That's the 3rd game. I think let Spurs lose their losing streak now. Go on it, and then just realize like they're, hopefully they don't have much chance to go for a Champions League and more of a UEFA spot, and they don't have to kind of put so
Let's
much pressure
let's
on
just
us.
hope they're not motivated,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Let's keep them semi-motivated. But even if they are, they're notorious battle jobs. So hopefully they'll. I've said that every season about them, but like I said it before the Champions League final as well. They tend to do it. So I was confident then. But our games outside that, it's Norwich, Leeds, Arsenal,
Mm.
West Ham, Brighton, United at home. As I said, we've Watford at home, we've City away, Aston Villa away, and then it's back to home games. It's Liverpool against Everton at home. They are like besides the City game away, right? We have to hold our hopes up that the rest of them are all very winnable.
100%,
You know?
yeah. Well, they have to be. There's no choice. There's no other way around it. We
Yeah.
can either do it or we can't. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? There's no excuses anymore. You know.
All your Spurs, your Arsenal, your United, your Everton, all at home.
Yeah.
They're all at Anfield. We got rid of them in the start of the season.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. So look, exciting times. Exciting times. I think it can be done, or I'm a lot more hopeful that it can be done.
Yeah.
Hopefully City drop a few points along the way, and we can
Yeah.
take advantage of that. That's it, really.
I think so, lads. Right, that's us for this week. Rambling on again. We always say we're going to do 30 minutes, and we do like an hour and 10 or something. Like whatever the frick it is. It always hits the hour mark, and then we're sitting there going, "Yeah, we have been waffling." Once you see that hour mark, just yeah, we have been waffling a bit, haven't we? So
yeah, sure, no harm.
Yeah, but it's good waffles at the end of the day. It's hopeful. It's we're not sitting here in the same place that we were a couple of months ago, and even
we're not
when
depressed.
Even when we were in a bad place and we were doing well, we were still always positive on this channel anyway. We're always like saying, let's look at the best case scenarios. Let's look at it this way. Let's have positive thinking about the team, and it's there,
and I suppose the thing is as well, and I land on this and I won't say anymore, but like the thing is, even when I seen the league thing slipping away, and it's a great first world problem to have, I was going, we're fucking right on for the Champions League here, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's not one, it's the other, but you know what?
No, we're still in with both. Still, I know there's a gap there at the City, but there's a game in hand, and it's that game in hand, and having to play them is the big thing. So that 9-point gap becomes 3 very quickly. If you win that game in hand and if you beat them at their ground,
absolutely,
which we have had a good record in the past. So
we can do it. We can
one of our strongest squads going now. I think I'm confident of beating them, especially the way the Anfield game went at the start of the season. We should have beaten them, And
well, we have to be confident. Like, there's no other way for it. We just have to be confident and go for it.
Yeah. So lads, that's us. That's the Kitman's thing for this week. Again, we're not procrastinating anymore. I'll be here for the watch along for the Champions League tomorrow night, and Kev won't be here, but he'll be here for Norwich on Saturday.
Yeah,
it's a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, so we'll be here about 2:30, I'd say. Tomorrow night I'll be here at about 7:30, with a bit of a build up. And yeah, we'll do an audio build up as well for the Norwich game on Saturday, so we can talk about Norwich and into Leeds as well coming up as well. So we don't have to do a whole show based on that, unless it's like big games coming up. We'll do like into Milan and stuff like that. We'll do podcasts and stuff like that. Hopefully we can get in the next few weeks we get a few people on as well to have chats with us, not just listen to our opinion, and we can get a bit of a Discord chat going, and do that. And get other people's opinions on their seasons and stuff like that, which would be great. But look, guys, we leave it at that. For myself, also Kevin, and
me, Kevin, also.
We are the Kitmen. We'll chat you, as I said, tomorrow night. Well, I'll chat you tomorrow night. We'll see you again on Saturday. Good luck, and see you later.
Peace out.
The Kitmen.